All right, welcome back to Talkin' Shirt, the Contract DTG podcast. I'm Mo, and I'm here with Mark. Today we're getting into the nitty-gritty, how to actually boost profits in your print shop without, turning your shirts into sandpaper or cutting so many corners you end up with a circle.
Yeah, and this is one of those topics where honestly people think it's all about selling more, but half the time it's about not wasting what you already have. I mean, I've seen so many shops, ours included back in the day, just bleeding money on dumb mistakes. Like, you remember that time we had a DTG printer miscalibrated for what, 2 days? Whole batch of shirts, just garbage. Sometimes the most expensive machine can bring out the hardest problems to solve.
Oh, I remember. You were like a bear with a sore tooth that week. But that's the thing. So much of the waste in small print shops is avoidable. It's not always the big dramatic stuff. Sometimes it's just like not double checking your settings or letting lint build up on the platen or not catching a typo before you hit print. It adds up fast.
Exactly. And it's not just the obvious stuff. There's hidden inefficiencies everywhere. Communication is a very big one. And I mean communication with the customer, the sales team to the actual print staff, etc. It all must be smooth like a well-oiled machine. And even small things like if you're not tracking your ink usage, you might not notice you're over pre-treating or using way more white ink than you need, or maybe you're running the dryer too hot and wasting electricity. It's death by a thousand cuts.
Totally. And I think a lot of folks don't realize how much time is wasted on setup, breakdown, cleaning, and rework, too. If you're spending 20 minutes just getting your press ready for a job, that's time you're not printing or selling. I always say look for the bottlenecks. Where are people standing around? Where are you redoing work? That's where your money's leaking out.
Yeah, and sometimes you got to just walk the floor and watch. I mean, don't hover and freak everyone out, but actually see what's slowing things down. We found out one of our guys was walking back and forth to the pre-treat machine like, I don't know, 20 times an hour. We moved the machine closer and boom, saved hours every week. It's not rocket science, but you got to pay attention. Running a lean operations can save thousands and thousands of dollars as well as waste it too.
And don't be afraid to ask your team either. Sometimes they know exactly what's driving them nuts, but nobody's ever asked. Like, hey, what's the most annoying part of your day? You'll get some gold out of that, I promise.
Talk to your staff. Understand their problems, wants, and needs. And if you're not sure where to start, just look at your trash can. Seriously. If you're throwing out a lot of misprints or wasted transfers or whatever, that's your first clue. Fix that and you're already ahead of half the shops out there.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room, spending money to save money. I know, nobody wants to drop 30 grand on a new printer, but sometimes that's exactly what you need to do if you want to stop bleeding cash on the back end.
And I get it, it's scary, but like we held on to our first DTG machine that was basically a boat anchor for far too long. It was slow, it broke down all the time, and the ink costs were through the roof. When we finally bit the bullet and upgraded, our per shirt cost dropped what, like 30%, and we could actually take on bigger jobs without pulling our hair out and bleeding cash with repair costs and missed deadlines.
And it's not just about speed either. The new machines are more efficient with ink, they waste less pre-treat, and they're way easier to maintain. I mean, if you're spending an hour a day unclogging print heads, that's an hour you're not making money. That's the real ROI, getting your time back, not just the raw numbers.
Right. And if you're trying to convince your business partner or, your spouse, which is sometimes the same thing, just lay out the numbers. Show them how much you're spending on repairs, wasted shirts, downtime, then show what you'd save with a new machine. If the payback is like a year or less, it's a no-brainer. And if it's longer, well, maybe you need to look at your volume and see if it really makes sense.
And don't get distracted by all the bells and whistles. Focus on what actually matters for your shop. Is it print speed? Is it color accuracy? Is it being able to print on more types of fabric? Make a list of your real needs before you go shopping.
Yeah, and talk to other shop owners too if they are willing to communicate. There's always someone who's already made the mistake you're about to make. Learn from them. And don't forget about support. If the company can't get you parts or help you troubleshoot, you're going to regret it. Trust me, I've been there.
And sometimes, honestly, outsourcing a few jobs to contract DTG, especially if you're still growing, don't be afraid to look at all your options. The goal is to make your life easier and your shop more profitable, not just to have the shiniest toy on the block.
All right, so you've got your processes dialed in, you got the right gear. Now you got to keep it running and make sure your people know what they're doing. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a new hire just like wing it on the press and ruin a whole run.
Training is everything.
I tell people all the time, focus on what you're good at or can handle. Don't be afraid to ask for help from a contract partner like Contract DTG. Sometimes it's trust, micromanaging, etc. Just rely on someone to assist you and make your life easier.
Yeah, and it's not just a one and done thing. You got to keep training, keep checking in. I always say have your new folks shadow someone who actually knows what they're doing and then have them walk you through the process. If they can't explain it, they probably don't really get it yet. And don't be afraid to do refreshers, especially when you get new equipment or change up your workflow.
And maintenance, don't even get me started. If you're not cleaning your machines, calibrating them, checking for wear and tear, you're just asking for a breakdown. I mean, we set a schedule. Every Monday we do a deep clean and we calibrate the printers at least once a week, sometimes more if we're running a lot of dark shirts or switching inks. It's a pain, but it saves us from way bigger headaches down the line.
And track your numbers. I know I sound like a broken record, but you gotta know your metrics. How many shirts are you printing per hour? How much downtime are you having? Where are the mistakes happening? We found out we were losing like 2 hours a week just waiting for the heat press to warm up. That's money out the window. Once you see the data, you can actually fix stuff instead of just guessing.
Yeah, and sometimes the numbers surprise you. Like we thought our biggest issue was misprints, but it turned out it was just machine downtime. Once we fix that, profits jump. So don't just trust your gut. Look at the data. Tracking capacity is one of the biggest eye openers because then you know what you can do. Don't take on the 500 shirt job due tomorrow when you know your printer can only do 20 per hour.
That makes total sense, Mark. All right, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. If you want to see what Contract DTG can do for your shop or just want to get a quote, head over to contract-dtg.com. We're always happy to talk shop, literally.
Yeah, and if you've got questions or want us to cover something in a future episode, let us know. We want to hear from everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us today, Mo. Always a pleasure.
Right back at you, Mark. See you all next time on Talkin' Shirt. Take care, everybody.